I can't believe that the month of October is basically close to being over. It's Monday, which means one thing. I'm here for Monday Evening Quarterback. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Monday. I hope you guys have had a great start to the week, and I hope your weekend was phenomenal, amazing, and abundantly blessed for you. As I mentioned, welcome to another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback, the Daily Blitz's first official podcast. My name is Christian Simpson, and I am the creator, I'm the founder, I'm the NFL and college football analyst. I am the blogger, and I'm also a radio contributor for a company called the Daily Blitz, which was started on September 6, 2010. So we are in year 15 of business. This is everything football, 24/7, 365. If you want to keep up with us and learn a little more about the Daily Blitz, you can log on to our website and become a subscriber today. The more, the merrier, into your email address, and anything I post on the site will get sent to your email address. If you've been following along from the get-go, as always, thank you. And if you were referred to me and this is your first time checking out Monday Evening Quarterback, one, thank you for taking a referral. Two, thank you to whoever refers you to me, and I hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoy the show while I'm here. I also just want to throw it out there. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We are featured on YouTube, Spotify. Having a little difficulties with them, but we're going to get it back right. YouTube, Spotify, Blog Talk Radio, the Nerdport Network, and now TikTok. Announced that on Friday that Monday Evening Quarterback will be featured on TikTok, and I'm so excited for this. So hello to all my TikTokers. I'm a rookie in the TikTok world, so y'all gonna have to show me around. With that being said, I got another jam-packed show for you. As always, it was a wild week, and a wacky week at that, in college football. Most of the top 25 changed except for one team. I'm going to get into that. There was an upset with the number 2 ranked Miami Hurricanes. Going to get into that as they fell to the Louisville Cardinals, excuse me. There's one team remaining in the SEC that's undefeated. Who could that be? Hint. It's not Georgia, and it's not Alabama. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ole Miss and Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. The third Saturday in October just passed. Texas Tech played Arizona State, and it was a pretty entertaining game between Vanderbilt and LSU. And one of the oldest rivalries in the sport took place. USC Notre Dame. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to go to the phone lines. Then after the phone lines, I'm going to come back, talk about what caught my eye in the NFL. And we have another double dose of Monday Night Football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Detroit Lions, and the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks on ESPN and ABC. Cannot wait to talk about that. I'm going to answer questions, and then I won't be on the Prime tonight. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be on Twitter tonight breaking down Monday Night Football, which is Tampa Bay and Detroit. Huge game in the NFC. Bragging rights are on the line, I feel, in this matchup. Both teams have really seen a lot of each other these last couple years, including a playoff matchup a couple seasons back. This should be a fun game, and I'll get into that when I talk NFL. So with that being said, let's look at college, and I'm going right to Hard Rock Stadium, the Miami Hurricanes. I'm just going to call this the Simpson curse, because it seems like every time I say that a team is the best in the country, they go out and they lay a goose egg. That's just what it is. And, I've been high on the Miami Hurricanes this year. And remember what I said at the beginning of the season when I previewed their first game against Notre Dame. If you get good Carson back, good things are going to happen. But if you get the Carson back from last year that struggles, you're in for it. And for most of the year, he's been pretty solid. I must say that. But we got bad Carson on Friday. He was 25 of 35, 271 yards, no touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Words to LeBron James. One, I didn't like the Miami game plan at all. A lot of their game plan relies on balance, and they just didn't bother to get Mark Fletcher Jr. the ball. 8 carries and 18 yards. That's not even 3 yards a carry. It's probably about 2.3. Yeah, he did have a touchdown, but yeah, Mark Fletcher Jr. is the bell cow to this Miami offense. On the other side, Miller Moss, the former USC quarterback. Have a day, young man. 23 of 37, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The same thing I said about Florida State, I can apply that to Miami. I thought they would pass this. This is unacceptable. They lost this game. First loss of the season. 24-21. Isaac Brown, 15 carries, 113 yards. No touchdowns. Miami's defense did all they could to keep them in the game. Carson Beck didn't do them any justice. And, when Carson struggles, he struggles. Sometimes I feel like there's no in-between with him. When he's good, he's really good. And we saw that a couple of weeks ago when they played the Florida State Seminoles, connecting with his wide receivers, having time to throw from the pocket, hitting his receivers in stride, and most importantly, he was taking care of the ball. But, you throw 4 interceptions, anytime you turn the ball over, you're not going to win. Plain and simple. The team that turns the ball over the least and the team that's the least penalized normally ends up winning a football game. But yeah, down goes Miami, and they were the number 2 ranked team in the country on Friday night. Entering Friday night. Ohio State dominates once again. When haven't I said that this year? Just literally used Wisconsin as a punching bag, 34-0. Julian saying, have a day, young man. 36 of 42, 393 yards, passing, 4 touchdowns, and the 1 touchdown Carnell Tate caught. I knew this was going to be on You Got Moss on ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown. Word to Randy. But the way Carnell went up for that pass, he just took it out the air and then let people know. Yeah, he yelled out, he pumped his chest, and I would have done that too. And if you don't like it, maybe your defense should stop him. But yeah, Ohio State just continues to dominate. Wisconsin, they're 2-5, they're 0-4 in the Big Ten. That's all that really needs to be said about them. Indiana, coming off that big win last week against the Oregon Ducks in Eugene, dominate Michigan State 38-13. Fernando Mendoza, 24-28, 332 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kaylon Black was your leading rusher, 10 carries, 64 yards. Look, I'll say it again like I did last week. The only thing that's getting in Indiana's way of reaching the Big Ten championship game is themselves, and that's whether they lose a key weapon or they just don't play up to their standards, because they don't play Michigan and they don't play Ohio State. The only way that I think they'll see Ohio State is in the Big Ten Conference Championship game. Omar Cooper was your leading receiver for Indiana. 8 receptions, 115 yards, and 1 touchdown. Excuse me. And Elijah Surratt, 4 receptions, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And E.J. Williams Jr., 5 receptions, 59 yards, and 1 touchdown. Yeah, Michigan State just couldn't get it going. Aiden Childs was 27 to 33. Not a bad stat line. 243 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interception. And I had to give Indiana a lot of credit because Kurt Cignetti's name was floating around for vacant head coaching jobs, and Indiana just put the pen to paper and extended him for the next 8 years. And he deserves it. He's been one of the best coaches in the country. And yeah, he's building up something very nicely in Bloomington. So remember at the top of the show when I said there's a team in the SEC that's still undefeated, and it's not Georgia or Alabama. It's the Texas A&M Aggies, and I think this is what they were hoping for with Jimbo Fisher. You paid him a boatload of money. You bought him out. Now you're paying him a boatload of money not to coach you guys. You bring in Mike Elko, and he's changed the entire trajectory of this entire football program. Marcel Reed, using the transfer portal to get Mario Craver. They're scoring, but it's the way that they're improving the offense, because I talk about it all the time. A lot of offenses want that home run play down the field. You know, they want that big play, the deep pass going down the field, and now they're going more short. They're going more intermediate. I started paying a little more attention to them after they beat Notre Dame. You know, that in week 3. To go into South Bend at night, one of the tougher places to play in the sport, and come away with a 1-point victory really says a lot. Texas A&M is off to their best start since 1994. They're 7-0. They just squeaked by the Arkansas Razorbacks 45-42 in a shootout, and they continue to remain atop the SEC. Now, the team that's dominated this conference these last couple of years, the Georgia Bulldogs. Welcome Ole Miss to town. Game day was there. I previewed it, and this would end up being one of the best games that I've seen all year that I've had the chance to preview. My first time getting the chance to see Trinidad Chambliss play. He's a dual threat quarterback that can beat you from the pocket. He can make throws on the run, but I really think he does his best work with a moving pocket, or he's getting those yards himself. Excuse me. I have an issue with the Georgia Bulldogs, and I say this about the Kansas City Chiefs all the time. They feel they can just click that switch and snap their fingers and not do their step when they want. You saw it last week against Auburn. Yeah, I'll even take it back. You saw it in week 3 against the Tennessee Volunteers, because they got behind pretty quickly, and Tennessee, I think, just kind of gave them that game because they had so many chances to close out, and they just couldn't do it. And they let Georgia hang around. When you play a team of that caliber and of that magnitude, you got to put them away when you have the opportunity to do so. So we noticed these, this in a inconsistent football when they played Tennessee. It caught up to them when they played Alabama a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, thankfully they were able to bounce back and score 20 points in the second half against Auburn. Yeah, Ole Miss had this game until they didn't. And I really do have to give Georgia a lot of credit because they really did buckle down in the fourth quarter of this game. They only allowed a single yard, I believe, to the Rebels. I'm going to check that just to make sure. But, yeah. Yeah, this Georgia defense doesn't really have that pop like it has in years past. They're phenomenal when it comes to stopping the run. I will give them that, and I won't even deny you that. It's their inability to get home to the quarterback. And offensively, they have what I refer to as selective pop. So they can create down the field when the opportunity presents itself. I will say that much. But Georgia, they escape with a win. And, I remember telling people, and I said it yesterday. I said it on Saturday when I was tweeting during the game that the first to 40 was going to win this game. And that's exactly what happened. Georgia did win this game 43-35. Looking at the numbers for Trinidad Chambliss on the Ole Miss side, 19 of 36, 263 yards, 1 touchdown, but he was also your leading rusher, and y'all know how I feel about that. 9 carries, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns, so he accounted for 3 touchdowns, and Keywan Lacey was the second leading rusher. He also ran for 2 touchdowns, 31 yards on 12 carries. Gunnar Stockton is effective. 26 of 31. 289 yards passing. 4 touchdowns. In goes Frazier in this instance. 17 carries, 72 yards. Georgia escapes again. They go on the bye. They take on Florida after, and Florida finally did it. I think the writing was on the wall for this to happen. They did fire Billy Napier. You knew it was coming. He just couldn't get them back to the level of excellence that they're used to sustaining. Yeah. Let's go to Tuscaloosa, shall we? Tennessee, Alabama. Third Saturday in October. I previewed this matchup for now the last 4 seasons. Remember the first one I did, 2022, in Knoxville. This is when the SEC used to come on CBS. Bryce Young, Nick Saban, Hendon Hooker, Josh Heupel, and it was a shootout. This was the game when Jalen Hyatt recorded 5 touchdowns. And Alabama lost that game by a field goal, 52-49. It's been a back-and-forth series these last couple of years, with Tennessee taking it last year, 24-17. So one thing I always joke around and say, not really joking, it's the truth. Alabama never loses to the same team in back-to-back years. Yeah. And they continue to impress me. Look, what Texas A&M is doing is great and all, but I think Alabama's the best team in the SEC. Just look at their last couple of games. You beat Georgia in Georgia. Then you play Vanderbilt. You beat them. after they beat you last year when you were ranked number 1. You play Missouri, and you beat them, and then you just beat Tennessee on Saturday night, 37-20. The thing that I'm seeing from Alabama, they are controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So that's one aspect that's standing out. They're getting some of the best quarterback play from Ty Simpson in America. That's number 2. And then they're just taking much better care of the ball. That's number 3. But I think the most important thing in all of this is Kalen DeBoer has finally settled in the SEC. He can just worry about coaching and not being the guy that's labeled as the heir apparent to Nick Saban. And he can't deny the fact that he probably was listening to those rumblings. But, yeah, Kalen has Alabama playing with all the confidence in the world. Joey Aguilar, 28 of 44, 268 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception, which was returned for a pick 6. Deshaun Bishop was your leading rusher, 123 yards on 14 carries and 2 touchdowns. Alabama's rolling right now, and I can't wait to see how far they go. I really can't. Texas A&M dropped their first game to Arizona State, but sticking with the SEC, Vanderbilt handing LSU its second loss of the season. LSU was a fraud. They definitely weren't who I thought they were. Excuse me. Garrett Nussmeier, 19 to 28, 225 yards and 2 touchdown passes, and Diego Pavia, 14 of 22, 160 yards passing, 1 touchdown. He was also your leading rusher, which I can't stand. But LSU was considered to be a title contender, and Brian Kelly is good for one of those games where if you struggle, you struggle. He did it in South Bend far too many times for my liking. But, down goes LSU. They can still make the playoffs. I don't think they can lose any more games. And Notre Dame handled their business against USC. USC came in after defeating Michigan last week. And, Notre Dame, they're 5-2. They've won out. They got back to the basics. They're establishing Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, which makes life a lot easier for CJ Carr and this Irish offense. Jeremiah Love, have a day, young man. 24 carries, 228 yards rushing. Average damn near close to 10 yards per carry, 9.5 and 1 touchdown. And Jadarian Price tacked on 87 yards of his own on 13 carries for 1 touchdown. If Notre Dame can win out, they're a playoff team again. Before I wrap this up, what I'm previewing this week is another SEC chapter. I did put something up on Texas A&M on the site today, so be on the lookout for it. Or go check that out right now as we speak. But I will be previewing Ole Miss and Oklahoma, and then Missouri and Vanderbilt. Not necessarily eye-popping matchups and matchups that get your attention, but something to talk about for sure. With that being said, that's all I have for college football. I hope you enjoyed that segment. Let's go to the phone lines. You're going to hear some music. Then when I get back, we're gonna talk a little National Football League, because believe me, I got a lot to say. This is Monday Evening Quarterback on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, the Nerdport Network, and TikTok. See you soon.